welcome to Ask IITians. So, my dear students, I hope you all are good. You all are doing very well. So, my dear students, what I say that my very small students, not very small, it's like that grade wise. So, welcome to the class, and this is your very first chapter of your chemistry subject, that is the fiber to fabric. So, we are going to start this new chapter today, and I hope you all are you all are paying so much of attention towards the video, and I want you to pay so much of attention so that you will come to know each and everything, and then you can perform well in your exams. Exactly. So we can start with our session. So the chapter is fiber to fabric. Even though in these pictures you can see that these are the wools are coming from here, and this is the sheep, and sheep is getting, and from sheep we are getting wool. Exactly. So we'll see that how these all are things going on and what we are talking about fiber to fabric. So my dear students, first of all, oh, I forgot to tell you my name. So my students, my name is Arushi Sharma, and I'll be a chemistry tutor for this session. And we are going to start this chapter, and you are going to continue this chapter with me only. So please be attentive and listen everything carefully, and let's make it wonderful session. Fine. So let's start it. So the chapter is fiber to fabric. So my dear students, from the name only, if I ask you what you understand by fiber to fabric, that means we are converting fiber to fabric. Exactly. And now, if I ask you what is the fabric, like, have you ever heard fabric? It happened with everyone, like in our houses, whenever we go to some shops to buy clothes, or to stores, or to the malls to buying the clothes. So even though, what the thing is, we generally look at the stuff means the fabric of the clothes, that what kind of the fabric it is having. For example, sometimes when we go and we want some clothes, but our mother doesn't allow to buy that clothes. Why? Because she is saying that the stuff is not good, the fabric is not good, the fabric is not fine, you will face problem with it. So, and that is the point of view of fabric student, that the fabrics are the, like, if I'm wearing this woolen sweater, so the fabric of this sweater is woolen. So that means, student, fabrics are used to make up the clothes, and that fabrics we are getting from fibers. And now, what is the fibers? We'll see that. Okay, so let's move ahead. So yes, student, as you can see in this picture, what you can think about by looking at this picture, you can see one cute grandmother sitting over the chair, and she's knitting the sweaters. So what she's doing, students? Obviously, she's knitting sweaters for her grandchildren's, for her children's, or like maybe she can just knit for herself also. Even the students in my house, like when I was having my grandmother, now she's not anymore, but it's like that, students, that when my grandmother was there, so she used to knit the sweaters, and from that knitting sweater we used to wear that. So we can find out a kind of love from her and affection from her, because she thinks about us so much. Exactly. Now, why I'm telling you this example? Because, student, this wool we are getting from sheeps. From sheeps we are getting these wools, and then the wool roll. You can see here that this is the wool roll, and this wool roll is used to knit the sweaters. So what we are getting? We are getting fiber to fabric, and then from fabric to clothes. That's why I'm telling you this thing. So that's how, student, the procedure takes place. Now here the grandma is knitting the sweater, but if we talk about the clothes which we are getting from stores or from shops, we can say that those are the clothes which prepared in the industries, like textile industries, we can say. So this is the like I want what I can say, that I want to give you one kind of live example which we see in our houses. Have you ever seen that your grandmother or mother can knitting a sweater? Have you seen that? Because it's nice to wear a sweater which is made by our grandmother. Even though, what's the point of view of nowadays, that even me also, I'm not talking about everyone, it's me also, that we people, or we childrens, we don't want to wear such sweater. We would like to go to shops and big stores and want to buy such costly materials to look cool. Exactly. But students, believe me, then sweaters which is knitted by your grandmother or mother, it feels so warm. So you'll say, ma'am, from fiber to fabric you are going to some another direction, so I don't want to go there. So yes, it's just that the knitting of sweaters, what I like, what's the point of view of telling this, that yes, you have used that knitting of sweater in your houses, and that sweater is made up of wool, that is the fabric of your sweater, and that wool is getting from the fibers, that is the fibers, and the fibers we are getting from some source. Okay, if some source is not there, so how we are getting any of the fiber? Exactly, so we are getting some source, and from that source we are getting some fibers, and then fibers are converting into the fabric, and then fabric is converting into the particular clothes. Like different color are there, different sizes are there. Like if I ask you, what are you, like, what's the color of your clothes right now which you are wearing? Okay, it's different, my color is different. So that's how we are getting different type of clothes, depending upon different colors, as well as different textures, as well as different designs. We are having variety of clothes. That is why, no, when we go to the shops and our mother doesn't like what she says, na, that don't touch it, or don't do that, or do like that. Exactly, so that we don't get affectionate about everything over there. Because it happened with me, like if I'm going to buy clothes, if a shopkeeper or at any store I'm looking at 10 sweaters, so it like it's my inner voice, it comes out that should I buy this one also, this one also, this one also. That's how the total comes out to be 5 6 sweater or something like that. So that would be a difficult task for my mother. Exactly. Okay, so we have completed this part also. Now coming to the next part. So okay, students, what we are going to cover up today is that we are going to study these topics: introduction, history of clothing material, like from where the clothes has been comed up, like come, sorry, not comed up, because comed up is not such a word in any of the dictionary, but it happens sometime. So like how the you can say that the development of the clothes has been taken place. Then we are going to study the types of fibers, that what is the types of fibers are, and we are going to study some plant fibers, that means the fibers which we are getting from plants. We are going to study about these. Okay, you will say, ma'am, we are going to cover up so many topics in this session. So my dear students, डरने वाली कोई बात नहीं है. It's just that they are very simple. You don't have to be afraid about it. They are going to be very simple, very simple. And even though we have so many nice pictures, that only by looking at the picture you are getting the point of view about the topic. Okay, so if I tell you that in a very positive way, now we are going to start that session. Till now what we have done, we just have talked to each other. So now we are going to start that session. That means we are going to start the syllabus part or the theory part of our chapter, that is the fiber to fabric. Okay, and see student, yeah, one more thing which I want to clear you about is, see, when this chapter starts, so this fiber to fabric chapter, if I tell you, so for your class 6 student, okay, so there is the, okay, you are going to study the types of fiber, but it's just that the natural fiber is in more content. Okay, this is in more content, that is the natural fibers. So if I'm not wrong, you are going to study the synthetic fibers as well when you are going to a class 8. So don't worry about it that, ma'am, now what's the point of view of synthetic, because this is your subject, like your subject syllabus according to CBSE or your school curriculum, that we are having the plant fibers in more content, whereas your synthetic fiber will come to your higher grade. Okay, so now starting with the session, you will say that how many times she is saying that we are going to start the session, but she is not telling anything. But now for sure starting the session. So okay, what's the introduction, like what kind of introduction I want to tell you, that the fiber and fabric in our daily life we can encounter them. How? Like the clothes we wear, like the sweater which I'm wearing, you can see Sydney. So the clothes which I'm wearing, curtains, bed sheets, cushion cover, sarees, so, what else I can say, towels, and so these all are the things, they are made up of the fabric only, but it's just that they are the different fabric. Okay, so it's not like that you don't have to be worry about to think about, okay, what's the fabric type it is having. we'll see that we are having different type of fibers, so we are getting different type of fabrics. It's just that where you are going to encounter all of these things in the form of the clothes, in the form of the bed sheets, in the form of the cushions, curtains, towels, and everything like that. Okay. Okay, my dear students. So okay, now first of all, we are going to talk about that how the clothing has been developed. So my dear student, as you can see here, that initially this is, if you have heard the story that the ancestors of the human beings who are monkeys. Do you know this thing, monkeys, or if I can say, not gorilla? I was about to say gorilla, not gorilla. Maybe chimpanzees, monkeys, because they all are of same kind of animals, I can say. So what I have heard about the history that many times ago, when there was no clothes, so people used to wrap up their bodies with the plant leaf or tree leaf, something like that. And even though student, if you believe, like if you want to believe me, you have to believe me. It's just that even though in nowadays there are some tribes who live in a very different place, in a very different corner of this world, and they, like at this point of time also, they don't wear nothing, like anything over their body. So that's how student, initially when this if I don't know when the earth has been started, or when people came on earth, I don't know about these things, like how the origin of life was there, because there are so many books, but it's just that I can't believe all of this, because I don't know that who is right or who is wrong about it. So the, like initially, so we what I have studied till now, it's just that the ancestor of the human beings are monkeys, and then that's how the human beings have been evolved out. So initially, when the people are not knowing about the clothes, so they just like they don't wear, like they didn't wear anything over their body, they just roaming here and there in such a way only, like they don't have any clothes. But after some time, people realize that we should cover some of the parts of our body. So student, what happened, so for that purpose they start using the leaves. That's a big leaf. For example, banana leaves are there. The banana leaves are of very long size, so they used to wrap up those leaves to like around their bodies. Okay. And after some time, student, in the like in the mind of the people came out that okay, we don't have to use these leaves, we can use some textile. By looking at the cotton, by looking at different type of fibers in the natural, in the nature resources only, they come to know that okay, we can use these type of fibers, and then we can develop the clothes. And even those students, do you know that the human beings, when they were not having clothes, they used to wear animal skins? Maybe in some of the movies, in some funny movies, if you ever seen that that if they show you very kind of movie which is related to history or something like that, so you ever seen that the plants are wearing a kind of the lion kind of clothes? So why they show us with this thing? Because at that time people used to wear these animal skin to cover up their bodies. That means they killed animals, and what they did, that they just take out their skin and they just try to wear it. So that's how student the evolution of clothes take place, because they feel that there is the need of clothes. Because student, there was the change of the climate. One time there would be summer, one time there would be winter. So what will happen, they feel cold, they feel hot, so something like that. There is a need of the cloth development. So you can see evolution of clothes from animal skins, then woven material, silk status, then fashion, and nowadays, you know, we are having so different type of clothes. It's not just that we are having only one type of clothes. We are having party wear clothes are there, daily use clothes are there, night wears are there, and sports clothing are there. So we are having different type of clothes, different category of clothes, depending upon their requirement. Exactly, if I'm going to some wedding, so obviously I'm going to wear something nice. It's not like that I'm wearing this hoodie and I'm just going to attend that wedding. Exactly. So that's how we are having this history of clothes, that initially people don't wear anything, but when they realized, so what will happen, they start wearing dry leaves or like animal skins. And after that they think about the and like materials, and then they develop the textiles and the fibers, and that's how today we are getting the advantage of these clothes which we are wearing right now. And nowadays, like designing of clothes, texture of clothes, everything has been improved so much. You know this thing, like you can buy a very cheaper cloth, and even though you can buy a very costly cloth. So it's not depending upon the price, it's just that you are getting different varieties. So many brands are there, like you can say Indian brands, international brands, we are having so many brands. Okay, so that's the history of clothes. Okay, now what's the fiber is? See students, like if I ask you what's the fiber, so you can say that these are the thin strands of thread which we use to knit or weave them, and so that we can get the fibers. For example student, for if I what example can I take so that you can easily understand it? See student, if we are preparing some cotton cloth, so we are getting cotton from cotton plant. I hope you all know this thing. We'll see that how we get it or how we cultivate, so we'll see that part. But first of all, it just generally we know this thing that the cotton clothes we prepare from cotton, and cotton we get from the cotton plants. So the cotton is there, and when we like we do something with it, like there are so many procedure to convert it into the fibers. So what happens student, initially we get the fibers, this thread like structure, we get fibers. Okay, and then student we weaved them, or you can say that we knitted them, so that what will happen, we get some kind of this kind of thing, like a sheet kind of thing. And from those sheet we used to prepare our clothes. For example student, if you like my suggestion, so what you can do is like you can put your one title over the YouTube, that how the sarees are prepared. Students, you know that the sarees is having a so long length. Even though student, when the sarees had been prepared in the industries or the textile industries, so they are having a big roll of that saree. I don't know how much meter of clothes it is having. Maybe it is in kilometers. Not in kilometer. I'm just joking, because they are having the role of it, and that's how they prepare the clothes. So what happens student, even though the threads are there, then they weave those thread with each other. And even those students, like you can observe these things, sometimes it happened that the clothes you are wearing, and if by mistake it got teared, so there are threads coming out of it. So why the threads coming out of it? Because student, fabric is made up of fibers, and the fibers are what? Fibers are the thin strands of the thread, and then we weave them or knit them so that we get our clothes or the fabric. So this is the fiber student, that the thin strand of thread that is used to make clothes is known as the fibers. Okay, everyone got this point? Everyone is getting everything, and everyone is enjoying my video? Okay, now moving ahead. Okay, now a very important part came here, that what are the types of the fibers. So my dear student, as you can see that the type of the fiber, one is the natural fiber and the another one is the man-made, or you can say this artificial or the synthetic fiber. So if someone asks you what are the other names of the man-made fibers, so you can say artificial fibers or the synthetic fiber. Now you will ask me, ma'am, what's the basic difference between these two? So from the name only you can suggest, you can like have an idea that what could be the natural fibers. So my dear student, the natural fibers are those type of fibers which we received from the nature, that the source of that fiber is present in the nature only. Okay, so if I write down what is the natural fiber, so the fibers getting from nature resources. Okay, nature resources, that means that are not man-made, that has been made up by God. According to us, the natural resources or the natural things which we are getting, they all are made up by God. So that's how with the fibers which we are getting from the natural resources, we call them as the natural fibers. And the fibers which has been prepared by man-made, like men or the human beings, or by using chemicals or the machineries. Oh, sorry. See, machineries has been used for the natural fibers also. Like we prepare them by using the machine, not exactly machine, but by thinking of the men, or by the thinking of the human beings, we call them as the man-made fibers or the synthetic fibers. So fibers obtained, or you can say fibers made, obtained by men or human beings, by the thinking of the human beings, students. Okay, for example, for this I am having a very nice example. So student, natural fibers, see what happened, we get, like have you ever seen the silk sarees? So that silk sarees we got from the silkworm. Now silkworm is what? Silkworm is a kind of animal or insect, you can say, which we get from the nature only. We are not preparing silkworm, na? And from that silkworm we are not preparing silk. It's just that the silkworm is having that like property that it produces silk, and from that pure silk, that is called as the pure silk. We used to make silk sarees, silk suits, and something like that, and they all are very costly. So what happened, student? One time came that all of that the availability of the silk was very less, and the pure silk is very costly. So what the scientists thought, that if this pure silk is so much costly, then everyone can't afford it. So what did it? They tried to make some alternate of it. So students, nowadays we are having one artificial silk, and that artificial silk is known as the rayon. So I hope now you got this point, that what I was trying to tell you, that the artificial silk is a kind of the rayon, that it is the rayon. It is a artificial silk which we prepared by own, like which we prepared by our hand only. We don't use silkworm in that condition. So we are getting different chemicals we are using. Okay, just give me a minute. I want to write it in nice handwriting, na? So that's why. Obtain from the hands of human beings only. Okay, so artificial silk. Now, this artificial silk is having the same property of the pure silk. That means the texture is same, but it's just that the cost has been reduced. It is cheaper. So that is why, student, we are having two different type of fibers. One is the natural fibers and one is the man-made fibers. So you can see, student, these are the animal natural fibers are further divided into two types. One is the animal fibers and one is the plant fibers. Now we have to, like, why we have divided it. For example, student, if I talk about wool, or as I already told you, silk. So wool we are getting from sheeps, silk we are getting from silkworm. So that's why, student, the fibers which we are getting from the animals, we call them as the animal fibers. For example, wool and silk, and the animals are also the natural resources only. Exactly, we don't prepare animals. We don't have any such power to prepare animals or to make animals, so that we can say that no, animal fiber is a kind of synthetic fiber. No. So that is why, student, animal fibers are also the natural fibers, because the fiber which we are getting from animals, we call them as the animal fibers. Now, vegetable fibers, or you can say that the plant fibers. Now, why we are calling them as vegetable? Because, student, plant grow these fibers in the form of the fruits or in the form of the vegetables, like the crop. Like if we can see, the mango tree grows the mango, or something, some another example related to it. So we are calling them as the vegetable fibers, because we are getting them from the plants. So that is why these type of fibers are called as the plant fibers. For example, cotton and linen. Exactly. So this is the natural fibers. Now talking about the man-made fibers, which are made up by the human beings only. So it is the cellulose based, and some are the non-cellulose based. For example, cellulose based means, students, this, oh, just a second. This cellulose, students, we get it from plants, or like any other type of the natural resource. That is why we calling them as the cellulose based. And students, cellulose based type of fibers are not completely man-made fiber. You can say them as the semi synthetic fibers. That means, if we are calling them as the semi-synthetic fibers, so what we can say, that they having the some content of the natural resource and some content of the man-made thing. For example, rayon is a type of the, like the natural artificial silk is a type of fiber which we get from what I can say, cellulose base. That is the kind of the semi-synthetic, that the half of the part we are getting from the natural resource and half we are getting from directly, like we are doing something from them, and that's how we got the what I can say, fiber. So this is the cellulose based and the non-cellulose based, which are completely man-made. That there is nothing has been used up from the natural resources. So we call them as the completely man-made or the synthetic fiber. For example, nylon and polyester. So these are the like classification of the types of fiber, student. That how the fibers has been divided in the two parts, natural and the man-made. And in the natural, student, we are having two type, animal fibers and plant fibers, and in man-made we are having cellulose and non-cellulose. Okay. So, like student, I have already told you that in your this chapter we just have the requirement of the plant fiber, like the natural kind of fibers. Okay, so we are going to study all of these in details, but it's just that you should know what are the kind of the synthetic fiber. So, what are the synthetic fiber? That the synthetic fibers are the man-made fibers or the artificial fibers. That means we prepare them by our own. Eventually, student, you'll say, ma'am, cotton clothes we are also preparing, but the source of that cotton we are getting from the nature, but the source or the resource of that synthetic fiber we don't get it from nature, we just prepare it by on our, like on our hand, by our hand, sorry. So that's how the types of fibers are there. Fine. Now moving ahead. Okay, so some plant fibers you can see. So student, you can see that the fibers which we obtain from the plant, we call them as the plant fiber. So you can see cotton is there, jute is there, flax is there, coir is there, hemp is there. So these all are the type of fibers which we get from the plant only. So you can see the fibers that are derived from plant, we call them as the plant fibers. For example, cotton. Cotton we get from the cotton plants. Jute we are getting from, we you see that from where we get the jute, it's just that it is the part of the plant only. Flex, coir, and hemp, so all these are the things which are derived from the plants and we are calling them as the plant fibers. Got my point? So now if someone asks you that what could be the examples of natural fibers, so my dear student, it's like you are having so many examples right now. It's not just that the cotton is there, we are having so much. Cotton is there, jute is there, hemp is there, flex is there, coil. Or these are we are getting from plants, different part of the plants or just directly from the plant. So we call them as the sorry cotton plants is just for the cotton. We call them as the plant fibers, and by getting those fibers we convert them into fabric and then we prepare such different kind of material. See student, it's not like that every fiber or every fabric is just used to prepare the clothes. Have you seen the clothes which we used in the carry bags, like we are having jute bags na? Have you seen that if we are going to stitch the sweater or suit from that particular stuff, will you able to wear it? Exactly, no. So that's a student. Every fiber is not used up for the making up clothes. Depending upon the texture of the fiber, we use them. For example, the curtain which we are using in our houses, they are having different texture as compared to the clothes which we use generally. Exactly. So every fiber is used up to make the kind of cloth, but that cloth depend upon the situation, like the cloth we are wearing or the cloth we are using for the curtain purpose or for bed sheets or for the towel. Have you seen na, like the stuff of the towel is different, we can't wear the sweater of that stuff. For example, I have given you for the jute bags, like we can't stitch the cloth of that jute bag, that would be used for different purpose. So that's how, please think about it, that every fiber is not used up for the making of clothes. Okay. Fine. Now moving towards. So we are going to study first of all cotton. You can see in this picture, student, that we are getting these cotton. So students, what happened? The cotton plants grow the cotton in the form of the cotton balls. You can see here that these white color part representing the cotton. So you can imagine that if you are visiting to any of the field which are having cotton plants, it will look so beautiful. Exactly, if it is a very sunny day and some wind is there, so it will a very pleasant environment at that time to look the plants of the cotton, because you can see they are looking so cute or beautiful kind of thing. So student, if I ask you what is the cotton, so the nature of the cotton is soft, fluffy, Exactly. The cotton, even though it's not like that, we just use the cotton for the cloth purpose. We use cotton for different purposes as well. Like for whenever if you find out any wound is there, or if any car, like if any kind of accident, small kind of accident. So what we do that when we do the treatment or the first aid, so we use the cotton because cotton is very soft and fluffy in nature. We don't get irritated from it. So that is the nature of the cotton, that we get the cotton from the cotton plants in the form of the cotton balls are there. We pluck out these balls, and that's how we process them, and we get different usage of the cotton. Like cotton clothes can be found, and even the direct cotton can be used for different purposes. Okay, like if I if I tell you, whenever we used to remove the nail paint, so what we do that the nail paint remover, we put that nail paint remover over the cotton and then we apply it. You say that what are you saying, ma'am? Because we are such a small kids, we don't used to apply the nail paint, but it's not like that. It's everyone's choice. Okay, so it's the cotton, and where we use cotton, like cotton clothes are there, bed sheets are also there, which is made up of cotton, and many more uses are there. Like cotton clothes we are preparing, so different kind of clothes. Like I can get suit from it, I can get top, like the top from it, I can get what else, sari shirts are there, cotton shirts are there. So we are getting different type of clothes. Bed sheets are there, which is made up of cotton. So all these are things that we can use the cotton in so much. Like we use cotton so much, students. So that's the cotton which we are getting from cotton plant. Fine. Okay, now silk cotton. Now the silk cotton is different type of fiber. Okay, one cotton is there and the silk cotton is there, which you can get from these type of plants. Okay, you can see that these type of plants are having some kind of shininess in them. Okay, if you compare this to this cotton plant, this cotton is not having any shiny, just it is white color. But the cotton which is having shininess, that we call them as the silk cotton, because we know this thing that the silk is having very shine kind of texture. So that is why we are calling them as the silk cotton, because the cotton's texture is having some kind of shine in it. So we are calling them as the silk cotton. And that's why student, they are used up generally for the preparation of saris, because the saris, you know na, that the saris which we are used, like our mother used to wear it, so they are having some kind of shiny texture, stuffing cushions, pillows. So because they are very soft in nature, silk, if I talk about pure silk is very soft. So the cotton which we are getting in the form of the silk cotton, it will be more soft. So that is why you have you seen that there are that our cushion has been stuffed up with the cotton. So that cotton is used up. This silk cotton we use for stuffing the cushion and pillows. Why? Because we use that cushions and pillows for the sleeping purpose, and we require some kind of cushion which is very soft in nature, so that we can sleep very well. Even though what happened with everyone, that what happened with me, I can tell this thing, that there is one pillow and I always use that pillow for the sleeping, because if I change my pillow, I can't sleep properly, because it is the habit of us that we just get attached to that cushion, or you can say that the type of the cotton it is having, it is very soft, that we just get to relax over it. So that's how, student, silk cotton is used for the stuffing of cushions and the pillows as well. Okay, so we have discussed cotton, we have discussed the silk cotton, but the basic difference between these two, both are the soft in nature, both are having fluffy nature, but the silk cotton is having some kind of shininess, and even though they are more softer. Okay, so that's how silk cotton and cotton is different. Now moving to third, so it is hemp. Now hemp, you can see that it is some kind of very you can see it's not that much soft. So students, hemp we get from the different part of the plant. For example, student, the stem part, have you ever seen that the flowers which we are getting along, if I show you, don't go over my drawing. So these flowers are also having the stem kind of thing. So that stems, they are very, or the stems kind of thing which is not wanted by the plant. So we are getting that fiber, and we get this type of fiber that is called as the hemp. And this hemp is rough in nature. Okay, the nature of this hemp is rough, it's not soft in nature, it is very rough in nature. Because, and if it is rough in nature, so we can't use it in formation of the cloth. Exactly, if it is rough, so we can't use it to wear. we can't wear it, because if we wear it we feel some kind of itchiness is there. So we don't use these kind of things for the cotton, oh, sorry, clothing purpose. Same thing which I have told you, that every fiber is not used up for the formation of clothes. So that is the hemp is one of them. We use it for the formation of ropes, shoes and paper as well. So these are the uses of this hemp, because it is rough in nature. And if it is rough in nature, and it is also somewhat strong, if we are using the rope of it, we you just can't tear it like that. It will, like, it can get tear, but after some time when you apply more force, or if you like, if you give so much time to it. So that's how. So you can say it is rough and somewhat strong, not that much but somewhat, I can say. Okay, so this is the hemp, students, which we are getting from the unwanted part of the plant. That means we can get it from the stem part or something like that, and then we use to prepare a roll, and then we can convert it into rope, shoes, and kind of paper. So these are the uses of hemp, students. Fine. So we have studied about cotton, silk cotton, hemp. Now jute. See student, jute, we are like, if I ask you what is jute, so you say, ma'am, jute fiber is having so much of use, that we are having jute bags, we are having like shopping bags we use, and like ropes we are getting from it, carpets we are getting from it. And see students, why we use jute bags? Why it is very, like, it is a good thing, or you can say that a eco-friendly thing to use jute bags instead of plastic bags. Because student, plastics bag plastic bags, because student, if I tell you what is about, like, plastic is not decomposable. I hope you know this thing, that the plastic is not decomposable, and it creates the problem with the environment, because it is not going to be end up at any cost. So that is why students, instead of plastic bags, we used to have the jute bags, because jute bags are decomposable in nature, because we are getting it from the plant part only. These are also the kind of things that we are getting from a long stick kind of thing from the plant, and that long sticks has been soaked into the water, and then we separate them out, and we get the jute fiber. And then student, these jute fibers are used up for making the gunny bags, shopping bags, ropes, carpets, and all of these things. And we'll see that how we get jute, or how we cultivate the jute. So that's how student, jute fiber is very important to use, because it is eco-friendly in nature. And even though if you are using the jute bags in the case of the shopping bags or something like that, so you will get in, like, you will get rid of the plastic bags, because plastic bag is not eco-friendly. So this is one of the fiber which we are getting from the plant. So silk, cotton, and jute, and hemp. So these all are the four fibers which we have discussed till now. Okay, and we are getting from the plant only. Now the flex. Now see student, this flex part, you can see that the fiber, it is a type of the another type of fiber which we are getting from the plants only. Okay, and it looks like this. It is somewhat, like, you can say somewhat shiny, not that much but light. Okay, and you can see somewhat kind of sort. So we are getting it from the flex plant. Okay, there is one type of plant, we call them as the flex plant, and from its stem part and from its flower plants we are getting this fiber. So that's how student, it is also kind of the plant fiber only, we call it as the flex. And because we are getting it from the flex plant, you can see in this picture that this is the flex plant. And from this, because student, what happened now, you know this thing, that all of the plants, like, if the plants which we are having in our nature, all of the time they not are having the greenery kind of thing. Sometimes it happened that the plants got dry, and they just give a kind of very rough kind of stems or flowers. Exactly, when any plant or any tree got dry, so what we are having, we don't have any type of greenery over it. Green part has been removed when, like, when it is going to be dry. So we get this flower flex or hemp in that kind of conditions. Okay, so that is the flex plant, from where we get the flex fiber. And where we use it, we use it for the walls covering, decorative fabric, and high quality of paper. That when we used to prepare the paper, so we use this, you know this thing student, that the trees part, that is the wood, is used for the formation of paper. That is why it is very important to use paper wisely. That means you should recycle the papers. If you want to write something, so just write in such a way that whole paper is not going to be waste, because it is the that paper is getting like made from the wood, and it's like trees is giving wood, and even though the plants are also able to give the wood exactly in the form of the small kind of stems or something like that. So we get it from the formation of paper. And flex, which is having a kind of shiny kind of things and a soft kind of nature, you can say. So we use it for the high quality paper. You know this thing, student, we are having two type of papers. We are having black color type of paper, and we are having white color type of paper, and you can see that there is a difference between the texture of the papers. For example, what I have seen, that I don't know, do you know this thing, there is a kind of notebook that is the classmate notebook. The quality of that paper is so fine, so soft, and so thick. So all of these things depend upon the quality, that what type of source we are using to prepare the paper. There are such kind of paper also which are very rough in nature. So all of these things different, because we are taking different type of resource. If we are taking flex, so we are getting a high quality of paper, the texture of the paper will be very good. So that is the usage of flex, students. Okay, so these are the things which we have to study here. Okay, so these are the things which we are getting from the plant. Now coir is there. Coir, see student, this coir we get from the coconuts, you know, nariyal, that is the coconut. Like whenever we used to eat the coconut, students, so what we do, we peel that coconut. So the outer covering of that coconut is called as the coir. Okay, and that is also used up for many things, like for preparing the ropes, for the doormats, for the mattresses. Doormats, you know, that the paidan we use in our houses for so that it can absorb the water, or to clean our footwear. So that's how we use this core at that purpose. And this core we get from the coconut part, and now the coconut we are getting from the plants only. So that's why, student, this is the fiber which we get from the plant. Now student, if I ask you that, can you wear the clothes of the that coir, because coir we are getting from coconut. And even though I know this thing that you have seen the coconut outer covering, because what we did, we used to eat that inside part, we don't used to eat that outer covering part. Exactly, we peel off it, and then we are getting white color part inside it, and we used to eat it. But that outer covering we just throw it. So that outer covering of the coconut is called as the coir, and we use it as a fiber. But we don't use that fiber for the preparation of clothes, because it is very rough, very rough dry, not shiny. So that's why, student, we use this thing so for the making of ropes, doormat, and mattresses. So that's how, student, depending upon the texture of the fibers which we are getting, we make them different kind of things from that. Exactly, like we can't wear the clothes of the coir, but we can wear the clothes of the cotton and the silk cotton. So we can prepare the clothes from them. And these are the fibers we are getting from the plants only. That is why we are calling them as the plant fibers. I hope you all get this thing. Okay, so now someone asks you what are the plant fibers. So the fibers which we are getting from the plants, we call them as the plant fibers. If someone asks you what are the types of the fibers, so you can say these are the two type of fiber: natural fibers, synthetic fibers. Natural fibers are those type of fibers which we get from nature resources, and man-made, which we just obtain them or made them by the human hand only. And we are having two different types. When we are getting fiber from animal, we call them as the animal fibers, and when we get the fibers from plant, we call them as the plant fibers. And we have discussed all of them, and we have seen this thing that like you can see also that the jute is very rough kind of thing. The jute bags are also very rough in nature, we can't wear the clothes of it. So that's how, student, we can say that all of the fibers is not just for the purpose of making wearing clothes. It's just that we prepare different kind of things from them, depending upon their texture, depending upon their strength. Okay, and if someone asks you that what could be the alternate of plastic bags, so you can say jute bags can be used, paper bags can be used. See, student, whenever we used to visit malls, we do shopping there. So what kind of bags we are getting from there? We are getting only paper kind of bags. paper bags. And jute bags we can use to carry, like if we have to carry, because paper bags are not that much strong, and if we want to carry more weight in it, so we can use jute bags instead of plastic bags. So that's how, student, we have done all of these things in today's class. And then for the cultivation of cotton, that how we do that and how we process the cotton so that we can use that cotton for making clothes or something like that, so we'll discuss in our next session. And I hope you all get this thing. So, my dear students, after listening this video, if any question, if any query comes to your mind, so you can post your question over the forum, or private forum or the public forum, and you'll get your answer. And that's how you will be very perfect in this chapter. And I hope you get each and everything. And thank you for attending my session. And yes, keep learning from us, Canadians. Thank you. Bye.